Hello, this is Market Moves. I haven't made a video in a while, so I'm making a quick video here using just a webcam. I don't normally show my face because I don't think that has much, much value add to the conversation. You don't really need to see how I look, but if you want, yeah, this is what I look like. You've seen me before anyway in some on some interviews I've done with Terry Yonkers and whatnot. Anyway, so I'm doing this with a webcam just to get a quick video out there. So what's been going on lately in the markets? Oh, let me start by saying I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This information is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. There you go. Standard disclaimer. Okay, now what's going on? Let me first talk about MMTLP. I am going to make a video on part 3 of oil, which is going to be talking about MMTLP and NextBridge hydrocarbons. For those who don't know, Metamaterials is spinning out their oil and gas assets to a private company called NextBridge, and they filed the S1 already. So this has been a while. We have not received any word about what's been going on with the S1. I believe that the SEC is still working on it, and we will get feedback. And in the meantime, there will be updates on that S1. The S1 could happen. I mean, we could get an approval at any point in time. We could find that that they have some adjustments to make, and we'll take that as it goes. But once that S1 gets approved, then that starts the clock ticking, right? There are shorts currently on MMTLP. Those shorts will have to end their short position, but before the company goes private, right? We've heard from John Berta before. He gave us a lot of great info. Part of the info he gave was that they made a mistake with the Series A preferred shares, and it became tradable, right? So the fact that MMTLP became tradable was a mistake. They're not going to make that mistake again. That means that NextBridge hydrocarbons will be non-tradable to private company. Okay, we know that for a fact. That means shorts have to close their positions. When shorts have to close their positions, they have to buy to close, and we'll see what happens then. The price of oil is quite high. We're talking 3.2 billion barrels of oil in the ground, and could be worth a lot. Could be worth a lot. Next thing on my mind is Metamaterials. Metamaterials has made some nice progress as a company. They announced their earnings report. I did make a comment about my initial reaction to the earnings report, which was I see that their burn rate was pretty high, but after I heard their live webcast, it looks like they're aware that their burn rate is high, and they're working on some ways to get some revenue generation and to offset that burn rate, right? So the key there is not to necessarily try to save money, but to try to make as much money as possible so that your burn rate doesn't matter, right? If you make enough money, then it doesn't matter how much you burn because, hey, you're making money. So I think they're in the process of doing that. George Palikaris has indicated that, he cares about, he's indicated on the webcast that he knows what's going on. Also on the webcast, he did talk, first and last thing he mentioned was about MMTLP and NextBridge hydrocarbons, of course, right? They are working on that. It's in the works. We know that for a fact. Okay, that's another verification. That's another between the lines info, right, is the way I look at it. So Metamaterials is doing okay. They're going to be increasing their revenue, and we'll see, right? If they get everything, if they spin out MMTLP first, then they could wind up having a large cash infusion. And by a large cash infusion, what I mean is a lot of MMTLP shareholders may buy a lot of MMAT, which will cause the stock price to increase dramatically. When that stock price increases dramatically, they could do a small amount of share issuance, which would bring a ton of money into the, onto the books. And as a result, you don't get much dilution. You get a ton of money in the books. You've got a longer runway, for takeoff, and you're doing good. You're doing good at that point. So, yeah. So that's what I think about MMAT. I think they're in good shape. Okay. Next up, Camber Energy. Camber Energy is stock symbol CEI. They're doing. They've been relatively quiet lately. I've been expecting to hear some more information, and I am expecting to hear some more information coming out. Stuff that's in on the back of my mind is the third-party report on their open conductor detection system. The third-party report. So the third-party testing has been done by NIAC already, and they'll be disclosing that report anytime soon. And then hopefully they'll have hopefully they'll announce a buyer of, or a licensee of their system, right? Which brings in a ton of money, and that's good, that's, that's potentially great news right then and there off the bat. Also, we've seen that they've done a lot of filings recently, which indicate to me that they have the merger on their mind. So they've done a bunch of SEC filings to get that merger informational updated as updated as possible. They also recently announced or filed that they have a proxy statement for their annual meeting. They have not had an annual meeting in about 2 years, so last year's annual meeting will be rolled into this year's annual meeting. So good news on that front. I'm expecting James Doris to make a vlog soon, and we'll talk about that afterwards. Okay. Next off, GameStop. GameStop did its split via dividend. We saw that there were a bunch of issues that came out as a result of that. Issues started coming out in the German market where people weren't getting their shares. People were having their shares. All sorts of weird stuff was happening. Some people did not get their shares. For some people, the shares were treated as a split and not a dividend. What does that mean? That means a whole bunch of potential shares came into existence, which should not have. The DTCC got, 200 million shares or something. Where'd those shares go? Brings up a lot of questions, right? So we need those questions answered, and certainly GameStop needs that. If GameStop issued shares to the transfer agent and the transfer agent issued shares to the DTCC has a whole bunch of shares. What they do with it, if they told all their brokers it's a split and not a dividend, did they go to someone's bank account? We don't know, right? There's a lot of open questions from the DTCC. Where'd those shares go? What they do with them, right? Did anyone get those shares? Right? These things are, Anyway, this opens up a can of worms, and I'm sure the DTCC is not happy about it, and we should have some answers. I'm sure Ryan Cohen and GameStop will be asking those questions, and the answers to those questions can result in, the answers to those questions, I'll let you figure out what the results of that will be. Meanwhile, next thing that happened was after GameStop got announced about the whole share issue, about the whole split via dividend issue and the mishandling of that between various brokers who pointed fingers at the DTCC. They said it's not our fault, we're just doing what the DTCC said. Then we see something very similar being announced by AMC, but it's not a split via dividend. AMC announced a preferred shareholder dividend with its own stock symbol that's meant to be traded. 1 share will be provided for every share of AMC that was issued. The shares will go to the transfer agent. From the transfer agent, it will go to the brokers. This is a brilliant move, and Ryan Cohen is probably looking at this, because if there are failures to deliver on the brand new APE shares that AMC is providing as a dividend, that means that will disclose the exact short position that there would be on AMC. Okay? Then everyone and their great-grandmother will know how shorted AMC is based upon the failures to deliver. Now that failure to deliver number will come out in about a month or so after it's actually been done, but it will come out. In the meantime, APE shares need to be distributed to people's accounts, right? They need to be distributed on the 19th, and people should be able to trade them on the 22nd. This is for AMC. If people say there's a problem with trading those APE shares, if shorts have to suddenly cover and buy a bunch of APE shares, we could see the APE shares go up significantly in price. Okay? And that means, I'll let you figure out what that means. But anyway, so the APE shares could go up significantly in price there. It looks like Adam Aron has a plan for the plan for that price increase. As the price increases dramatically, as shorts try to cover by buying ape shares because shorts need to deliver those ape shares. If the price goes up significantly, Adam Aron can basically issue out some additional ape shares at the market offerings. Let's say the ape shares go to something like, oh, I don't know, uh, 20, 50. Let's say the ape shares go to $100 a share, okay, just for the hell of it. If the ape shares go to $100 a share and you issue out, I don't know, 50 million shares, then that's 50 million becomes $5 billion. And Adam Aron can cancel out his debt with 100 million shares issued, and then your AMC shares now become worth a lot, right? Then you might even start buying back your own AMC shares. Reverse dilution there. So you don't necessarily have dilution, okay? And share prices can go up, valuations can go up. I'm sure Ryan Cohen is looking at this because so everything is interconnected. Everyone looks at everything. Everybody knows what everyone is doing. Just keep this in mind. With that, I just wanted to say that's it. That's my quick update. Again, you won't be seeing me do a video that often, but talk to you later. But again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This information is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. Goodbye.